Hey everybody, welcome back to Constant Agitation, your weekly photography podcast where we discuss different photographers every week. Sometimes I am too low, my volume.
I think might be the distance or something
Is
like
it?
that.
Yeah. It's 26 episodes and my mic technique is still needs a lot of work. How's everybody doing? I have a major headache and my name is Jimmy. And as always, I'm joined by Eva. How you doing, Eva?
Hi guys, I'm well today. It's good.
We were a bit late today.
Tiny bit.
For the first time, it's not totally my fault.
No.
Somebody lost their glasses
Yes.
and couldn't find them before we start.
Apart from all the potential computer problems.
Yeah, we almost didn't make it today. And I am trying to see if you've been watching the podcast, if this is your first time, welcome. But if you watched our last episode, you know it was a disaster because it was delayed the whole time. And I'm saying it might be also delaying now. I don't know what to do. We tried a lot today, the whole day. We spent the whole day trying to fix the delay. I think that right now it's a lot better than earlier. Hey Tim, hey Chris. Let me
Tim
know.
is here.
Let me know if you see any really bad delay on the stream between the audio and the video. If not, then I need to buy a new computer.
Or a new
supercomputer.
screen. I don't know what it is. Yeah.
We're not sure what's causing it. Cool. Hey CM. Tim is saying audio seems in sync. Usually we start the podcast every week by answering some questions. If there's any, this week there is none. So what do you want to talk about?
Well, I thought that we can talk about, before we get into the photographer of the week, which has a lot of material to go through, and I think that's going to be super exciting, that we just comment that we got the newest and most recent, supposedly completely new color film stock in the market by Silberra, a Russian company. And I say supposedly because there's a little bit of a mystery of like, where is this new film coming from? And we, as soon as we heard this, we heard it from, I think, Nico's photography show or some of the news that we visit. We decided to get all the color film that they had available in the website. And that was back in May. Yeah, the news came out in May. And they only arrived this week.
Yeah, so you can see I have in my hand 3 variations of 135 film. From the top to bottom, ISO 50, ISO 160, and ISO 100.
Yeah.
And here I have 120,
yes,
100 and 160. The blue one is 160 and the yellow one is 100.
Apparently, so there you have the color 100. We have one in 35 and one in 120.
This one.
But they're not the same.
Right.
So the color 100 in 35, which it says underneath limited edition, they put it in the website as it is repackaged of something that is already there somewhere. They don't say what it is, but it's not something that they have made, not something that they have hand coated themselves.
The 120?
No, the 35, the one that says limited edition. Apparently they used to have another color before and it completely ran out of stock and people were like, oh, we really miss it. So they decided to put this limited edition of this something for a limited time. I don't know if it's still on the stock or not. So those two, even though they are color 100, they are different film stocks, supposedly. All the other ones are their own new film stock. I put in the show notes a link to a Cosmo Photo article where they talk a little bit more about this, and they reached out to the CEO of Silberra Film to try to get some, I guess, intel on what it is. And what they say is that someone is making the film for them, and then they are coating some other part of the emulsion in. And they, of course, are not saying anything about what it is.
So, wait, hold on. So, you're saying somebody is making the film?
Yeah, something like
the acetate?
Yeah, I guess the film base and some part of the emulsion. And then they put some more on top.
I see.
So, the reports of the film, of what it does or what colors it has, it's all over the place. Like, as they report, some people say it reminds them of Kodachrome colors. Other people say that it might remind them some other colors. Apparently it has a heavy magenta shift as you go higher on ISO. So I guess we will see about that.
Yeah, I mean, all the boxes say made in Russia.
Yes.
So I'm gonna believe that.
So the 120s that we got are all hand rolled very carefully up to the maximum standards, they say, to try to make it as good as it would be like factory made.
Where is the note we got?
I think it's
there it
behind.
is.
Yeah.
If you collect stamps, I used to collect stamp when I was a kid. It's a Silberra stamp.
Yeah. Tim is asking, what company do you reckon is making their film? I don't know. I think there is still a lot. So back in the USSR,
Just an empty postcard.
the majority of the film was made either in what is now Ukraine or also Kazan, I think. And I think there must be a lot of equipment and a lot of things that just stopped being used when the USSR fell. So perhaps there is some of the companies that back then were making film from USSR that now they decided to go back and make some film for them. I don't really know. Everything is super secretive and like mysterious, so we don't really have any idea of where this is coming from. But according to them, it is a completely new color film stock.
I mean, we all know, I think, it's common knowledge that Kodak currently and Fuji are the only two who have the ability to make film in such... I think Lomo gets their color film from Kodak, Cinestill gets it from Kodak, and then there's Fuji. Yes. And Fuji's dropping their own film, so I don't know if they're...
If it's really true, well, I hope they can keep it up. And I actually left also in the show notes the link to their Instagram, because they start to have now some results from people that are shooting it.
When we ordered this, I remember like a bunch of these were the last piece. I don't know if that was a marketing strategy. I didn't check the stock after we ordered, if it dropped down to 0 or if it was sold out.
Yeah, it's true.
But there were a lot of them. Not all of them were sold out or like down to 1 unit, but I think 1 or 2 stocks of the 5 that we got were down to 1 item.
Yeah.
And what I heard or what I was reading, it was a few years ago actually. It was a Kickstarter. This whole Silberra thingy.
Yeah, it was on Indiegogo actually.
Yeah, and then a lot of people backed them and they got the film.
Yeah.
And what I know as well, we didn't open these because we plan to make a video, so I still need to like to shoot some B-roll and maybe do the unboxing in the actual video where I'm gonna shoot it. But I think they're using they're reusing canisters.
Yeah, that also says on the website that they have tried a lot of different things, plastic canister and other things, but what they have seen is that the thing that works the best to preserve the light tightness is reused canisters. So they are using all canisters. And also they say that because of how it was filmed, maybe the first frames might have some color leaks or something like that. So just to have that in mind when you are working with this. Very unique, very exclusive.
I've seen I think on Emulsive or 35, one of those websites like Emulsive.
Yeah.
What is it called?
35C
MMC, something like that.
Yeah.
I've seen an article with some results, and it does look a lot like Kodak film. So we will see. That's the verdict for now.
Exactly.
Hey Al-Walid and Devin, welcome guys.
I have to say that the majority of the color film in their website is out of stock.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's now out of stock.
They have only the 120s. The 35s are all out of stock.
Yeah. But they were having, I think, some production issues back in the Indiegogo days. Like some people waited months, and unless they didn't update the forum, they didn't get their film. But we luckily did get our own.
Yeah, exactly.
3 months
I feel
later.
Very lucky. With all the hurdles and the customs and like, I hope they didn't X-ray them like to the end and back. I don't know. Like I was thinking about that when it took so long and they were on custom for like 3 weeks or something. I'm like, what are they doing with it? She just like,
Yeah, it took forever in custom.
So I don't know. I guess everything that comes from Russia to Sweden,
Yeah, I ordered some large format sheets from Greece. And they've been stuck in one place for a while now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'm just every day praying they're not being X-rayed at any point.
But here in Sweden or in between, or do you know?
I'm not so sure. I forgot. My memory is not so...
Interesting.
Right. So, that's about it. Expect a video at some point if you're interested in that.
Yes. Expect also another video very soon.
Yeah, it's done. I already finished it.
It's done.
I think I need to add some B-roll on top But I mean, it's done.
It's the B-roll loop.
Yeah.
A little bit more B-roll.
I already have a finished like version of it exported. I
Yeah.
sent it to somebody.
It
And
looks
they
really
watched
good.
it. They enjoyed it. Yeah, but we will see.
Let's
You
keep an eye for
wanna
it.
talk about the photographer of the day?
The photographer of the day, yeah, I'm very excited to be talking and going extensively through the work of Margaret Bourke-White, I think it's pronounced and said, Margaret Bourke-White. I was looking for photographers to cover, you know, like we really are trying to look at the older photographers that sadly we cannot get to talk to them anymore, and I don't know how I actually missed, because I have a whole list of potential photographers for the next episodes, and I went through them and I was like, this is either too similar to what we did already, or this is like not really, or this is too much painting or so much photography. I was like, I don't know. So I went ahead to like go through like, okay, photographers that made a change, or photographers that did something that had never been done before, or were present at places where no one else was, or things like that. And then I got her name, and then when I went and I looked at her story a little bit briefly, and some of the photographs that I could see online, I was like, wow, what? Like I sent you some screenshots and I was like, look at this, we should talk about this woman, it's so great what she did. And
you sent me this. I mean, you sent me a bunch of articles. I was busy doing something else.
Yeah.
And I think I was maybe, I had, my hands were wet or something. I was maybe washing dishes. And then I see the links, and I'm thinking, okay, I'll click it in a minute. And then you send me this photo. Right, because I opened the messaging app with my elbow or something, so I can see what you're writing. But I think you sent me this photo, and I'm like, okay, I have to take a look right now. I dried my hands, started looking. I mean, look at this camera.
This is the
what is
biggest,
this lens?
I don't know. This is the biggest camera, or the biggest lens. It's like a Canon. It's a Canon. It's
not the one you're thinking of. If you're listening to the podcast, it's an actual Canon that shoots cannonballs.
Really, it's so big. So Margaret, she was born in the early 20s, I believe. So I'm bad with dates and I didn't write it down. But she started mainly her work on the 30s as a photographer. But it was a little bit of something that wasn't really planned. Everything that I keep reading about her is that she didn't intend to do anything that she ended up doing, which is kind of cool. You know, it was just like it happened. She actually wanted to be herpetologist, which not a lot of people would know what it is.
I don't know what it is.
Herpetology is the study of amphibians.
Mm-hmm.
So like snakes as well, and like crocodiles. She was like very interested as a kid on toads and frogs and stuff like that, and zoology as well. So she actually went to 7 different universities throughout her like university studies, and studied a lot of different things, but ended up that she wanted to make a little bit of money where she was studying, and she started taking photos of campus and people in the university and started selling them, and they sold really well. And she was like, okay, this can be something. So she started taking more photos, and she was the daughter of a engineer, apparently someone super absent-minded, always like thinking about work and with a lot of work things at home. So she was always very exposed to this engineering type of workplace and mindset, and she was very attracted by the industry and the rising industry back in the 30s, you know, the Industrial Revolution as well, and the you know, like making big fabrics. No, not fabrics.
What
Factories. I'm thinking of factories. In Spanish it's fabrica.
Oh, in Swedish is fabrica.
Yeah, so that's why. Factories, and she started taking photos of buildings, and she a lot of people were telling her, you are really good, but she kind of didn't really believe it. So she took her portfolio at the beginning, not so big, and took it to one of architectural firms, and the architectural firm people told her, your work is amazing. If you want to work as this, you go into any architectural firm and they're going to give you a job right away. And after that, she ended up opening a small studio, kind of to make ends meet, doing some commercial photography, but she wasn't really happy with it. And then someone that had magazine, Fortune magazine, I think it's called, saw her work and then basically demanded her to move to New York and start working with them to photograph some of the making of the very big skyscrapers that they were making back in the 30s, like the Chrysler building, I think, I don't know, some other monuments. And I think we're gonna see some of the photos of the Chrysler Building and also her at the Chrysler Building as well. So that's how she started to get a name and get a little bit more famous, and her photos to be recognized all around. And what happened was that the same person that was running the Fortune magazine decided to set up the Life magazine. So Life now is super known as a especially very visual magazine. It covers stories, it has also text and, reporting in that way, but it's a visual magazine. So this person wanted to create something even more striking, like that people could get to know the world outside of the US through striking photographs. And actually, I found an excerpt of what Life is as a magazine is supposed to be, which is really cool, I think. It says, Life magazine, to see life, to see the world, to eyewitness great events, to watch the faces of the poor and the gestures of the proud, to see strange things, machines, armies, multitudes, shadows in the jungle and on the moon, to see man's work, his paintings, towers and discoveries, to see the things thousands miles away, things hidden behind the walls and within rooms, things dangerous to come to, the woman and the man love and the many children, to see and take pleasure in seeing, to see and be amazed, to see and be instructed. That's actually the core message of the Life magazine. So the guy that set up this Life magazine wanted to have the best photographers working for him, and she was one of the ones called to be on the first edition of Life magazine. So she was one of the 4 photographers that had a photo on the Life magazine cover, that then it became so popular, So I guess maybe at the beginning it wasn't such a big thing, but now to think that she was one of the first persons that had a photo in Life magazine,
of course,
it's incredible. But the person, like that, the director, it was like, I really want her. Like, it was very insistent. And apparently, Margaret had the story to be a little bit hard-headed, like that she didn't want to do the things that people wanted her to do around. She just wanted to do her own thing. So this person kind of took a lot of convincing to bring her to Fortune magazine and then to Life magazine. But then she worked with Life magazine until much like from the 30s until the 60s, I believe. So that's how the photo that we saw, the dam, ended up being in the cover of the first.
This one.
Yeah, that's the first Life magazine edition, actually.
The first ever.
First ever, indeed.
That's so cool. So she's like one of the founding members, you can think of it. Like
yeah, indeed. And then that was on the 30s, I think. Yeah. And she was sent
before you continue, I really like this one. It looks like it's on a beach. If you really think of what is going on, there's so many people at the beach. But at first glance, it looks like it's in outer space.
If you don't really know what's going on, you really kind of have to zoom in and then try to get an understanding, because also I think the orientation of how it's done. So this is actually in Coney Island, and this is the happening of the drowning of a woman that was bathing, and they put her out, and she died. So everyone kind of like came over to see what was happening, and it happened that she was there, I guess, on a plane because of the aerial photography or something. I don't know if it was done on purpose, like they went to kind of document what was happening and then she took, or maybe she was in another assignment. I believe there is another photo of Coney Island somewhere as well, I think from the same exact time. So she...
What about this one?
This one? Yeah, so so Margaret was also, of her many firsts, she was the first woman to allow to be photographed on the forefront of World War II. And these photos are very popular. So probably you have seen a lot of photos of the concentration camps like this. In general reporting, or when you learn about the Holocaust, a lot of the photos were also used in the Nuremberg trials. She was one of the first persons to come in with the Americans when they liberated the concentration camps. So much of the documentation that is done on what was happening there that nobody knew, even in the places where they were, in the cities where they were actually the camps, it was taken by her. She was the person that was there. Like, she was always very, let's say, adventure, or like she was not afraid of being in dangerous situations or in the front of all these battles, because that's what actually she did. And war photographers, they ought to be like admire that, they are able to put themselves in the danger they are just to take the photos and to document. So this is one of the most iconic photographs. So she took the photos of the survivors. She also did extensive I didn't put any of those just for trigger warning, of all the people that had died, of all the signs of the suffering that had happened in the gas chambers and all that. So she worked there for months, like photographing everything, and much of the evidence that was used in the trials for then, the putting the Nazis in jail and all that was because of the photos that she took. Because otherwise everything is in writing,
Yeah, but the photo is much more impactful.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess this is one of the mega projects that she also was working on documenting.
Yeah, so...
You mentioned earlier the skyscrapers and stuff like that.
And also she, during the World War II, a lot of the men were sent on the forefront of, on the battalions. So a lot of the women, the wives, took over their jobs in the factories.
Mm-hmm.
So she went to some of the big welding factories and did extensive documentation of these women taking over the work of the men that had to go for the war as well.
Mm-hmm.
So these are part of that. And she also, of course, so at the beginning of her career, so the photos that you see that are more abstract, that don't involve a lot of people, is more about the buildings and about the engineering and the gear and all that. That was at the beginning of her career. And then when she traveled to Russia, because she also was the first the first foreigner being allowed to photograph in Russia,
mm-hmm.
in the Soviet states.
Mm-hmm.
No one from outside Russia had ever gone in and photographed before. So she went there and she started to see the social part of things. She started to photograph not only, people working in the factories in Russia as well, but not only the factories, but who is behind all that, who is doing all this hard work day in, day out. And, the life in the communist countries was very different to what she was kind of accustomed back home. And then she started to take on more of a social aspect to photography as well. So when she came back to the US, she started some projects where we're also looking at some of the injustice or some of, let's say, not the best situation in her own country. So this photograph in particular is quite ironic in a sense. This is after a very big flooding, I believe. A lot of people they didn't have homes or they have food, so they had to do a lot of queuing to get clothes and to get food. These are the people.
Mm-hmm.
And then here it says in the back stand, it says world highest standards of living. This is the American way. And then you see all these people that have lost everything and they have to wait in line to just get the basic necessities. So she did some work in the south as well, in the south of the US. Photographing the life of people and the life of farmers, and
very powerful.
And apart from
for being a candid photo.
Yeah, and apart from being powerful for the story, the composition is just a nice. She has a beautiful taste on how to take the right photograph in the right moment.
Definitely
even
agree.
with people too. So what else do we have there?
I gotta switch to the other.
The other ones.
I can't see anything.
There.
So because I usually work on a big monitor to this side, and now I'm working on a 6-inch camera monitor over there, and we think that powering this one was killing the computer. Might be. Maybe
we don't know.
Maybe the stream dies after I finish that sentence, and then we don't know what's causing the problem. But anyways. Yeah, so now we're looking. I think this was an advertisement for a bolt and nut company.
Yeah, but it's so cool also, because you completely lose the sense of scale.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
This reminds me to some of the works we've looked at before from different photographers who did more abstract stuff.
Yeah.
It's so cool to see this being used as an advertisement.
Yeah. See, I'm saying that the previous photo was used on a Curtis Mayfield album.
Mm-hmm. I don't know who that is.
I don't know either, but I guess maybe, I don't know, jazz? No? Or
I have no
country?
idea.
No, I don't know. Maybe he can tell us what kind of music it is.
And this is another one, American Woolen.
Woolen, yeah, so it's
So
fabrics. It's making fabric, textile.
It's so cool. I interrupted you. You were saying something, I think.
What was I saying about? I think it was about, yeah, like the previous one. Oh, this one has a very nice story as well.
All right.
Because she was the first person.
This one is in Moscow, 1941.
Yeah, exactly. So she was actually in Moscow as one of the only foreigners photographing the day that the Germans attacked the Kremlin.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the photos of the bombings of the Kremlin in Moscow as it was happening.
Wow.
She went up to the roof of the building to take photos of
While
the bombing.
bombs are falling.
You can see that. There's another one as well. I don't know. I think we saw it perhaps before. It's just insane to think that, it's just you have another mind. Someone has to have a different mind.
She's a badass for sure. That's
she
what
is a badass, definitely. I mean, you saw the photos with the cameras before, right?
I mean, like to be able to walk around holding a camera like that.
I know. And she basically left everything behind because of photography and her work on the front of things, because she was married first and then they divorced because she wanted to do other things. Then while she was already a famous photographer, she fell in love with another guy and she didn't want to get married, but the guy kind of pushed. And then when they were married, he wanted her to stay home. And she was like, oh, no. I am not going to do that.
It's not going to happen.
Even though apparently she loved him very much and she secretly wanted to have children and everything, she decided that the life and the work that she wanted to do was not compatible with that life anymore. So she also divorced from the second husband because of this. So she literally gave everything she had to be out there, travel, and photograph these amazing occasions.
This is the other photo of Coney Island you mentioned earlier as well.
Exactly.
Look how many people there are on the beach.
Yeah.
Is it always like that? I've never been.
I've been there once, but I actually didn't go to the beach. I went to the amusement park. So and it was also in kind of nighttime. So I don't know.
Yeah. These are really cool photos. Copper wire spool, Rome Wire Corporation.
Yeah, so these are the earlier work, I think, right? Does it say the year?
It says, well...
she was born in 1904, yeah?
1929.
Yeah, that's the earlier work.
So cool. Again, I'm guessing this was used as an advertisement and...
yeah, either that or reporting of the big factories of steel or...
Yeah, but it's so cool the way that she frames these photos.
Yeah, exactly.
Very interesting, very beautiful. And, they're... Yeah, I don't know. I forgot where I was going with that. This is a... What? I can't read.
What? I can see.
Crop protective pattern.
Crop, yeah, crops.
What is a protective pattern?
So, I don't know, maybe it's separating two fields of crops somehow or something like that.
But look how cool
it
is.
It is really, really nice.
And beautiful photo as well.
Chronic Fish is saying, I don't know why, but her work reminds me of the movie Metropolis.
I haven't seen that movie.
I haven't. It's a very old movie, right?
I don't know.
I think because of the skyscrapers, I think Chronic Fish. I think it might be because of that. This one is one of my favorite ones, but you know why.
Yeah, I have no idea what Tim is referring to. Oh, fire.
Yeah, it's a firewall.
Nice.
The original firewall.
Cool.
I really love this one.
I really love all these photos.
Yeah.
They're all so beautiful, so beautifully composed. I mean, what is this? What are we looking at?
This is
here?
a flower man.
A flour man. You're referring to the flour used to make bread.
Yes.
I'm guessing.
Flour? How you pronounce it?
Yeah, it is flour. It's the same pronunciation.
This I really love it because it's a very different take on a photograph of a famous, bridge
Monument,
that everybody would know, but it's just a different.
These are my favorite photos. I have to be honest with you. Some of my favorite photos are the ones that there is 1,000 version of,
but
different. The ones that you get a unique take out of. And I'm sure there's a billion photos showing the whole bridge or just from different angles, but playing with the architecture. I forgot the name of the photographer we talked about who did the a lot of architecture work in Spain.
Lucien.
Yeah. So we talked about it extensively in that episode
Yeah.
when we admired how much he moved around in the place and took, beautiful angles that would the architects themselves would be happy that they're being shown in their that their work has been shown in that way, because they, I am assuming that they took the time to kind of plan these angles and their viewing points carefully.
Yeah.
But people just take a photo of the whole building, not necessarily paying attention to the nuances.
Lucien Hervé, that was his name.
Cool.
Lucien Hervé. Yeah, definitely, and that's why Lucien Hervé in particular was seen by this architecture. This Le Corbusier in particular was like, you are seeing my creations exactly how I see them. Like it must be striking for someone, when you see your art kind of seen the same way and understood. So yeah, these are this is also, I think, either wire or wool. I don't know.
It's another industrial thing.
Industrial. These are earlier work, I believe.
CM is saying that Metropolis is a must-see,
Yeah,
and Chronic is agreeing. So if all of us who haven't watched it, we should watch it.
We should watch. I think it's very visual as well. I think I know the movie. At least I remember the cover poster for it. It has a building in it. I am almost sure.
I will check it out as soon as we're done looking at the photos. Little boy with a hound dog.
I chose this one because I just find it so funny that that I think, to me, are the newspapers all around, and then it feels so big and so monumental next to the doggy and the kid, like they're in the middle. So
it's definitely a cool photo.
So these are photos of the Chrysler building right after it was finished built, I believe, that she was called to be the one photographing it. And I think you already showed before the photo of her by the gargoyle.
Gargoyle?
Yeah, it's like she's...
Oh, no. Actually, it didn't come up.
Okay, so it will come at some point.
I used it on the story on Instagram yesterday.
Yeah, so these are part of that series of photos that she took.
So cool.
And I love it. The Chrysler building is a very beautiful building. I really like it. When I've been to New York, it stands out from anything that is around because of how it shines, because of the curvature. It's a sexy building, It's but the fact that she chose these angles and these positions to photograph it is just really cool. There's at some point one of the I think the Statue of Liberty is gonna come, and also she really has this vision to show the buildings and the monuments from a different point of view.
What's happening to this dude's glasses?
So I think he just puts them up when he's working or something a little bit. I just found it that it probably has a touch of humor in it, I would say, even though it's a formal, serious portrait, but it feels like a little bit of a humor in it to me. Especially because she definitely focused on the glasses. These are the typical, big industrial, but I just can't get enough of these gear photos. And yeah, this one, to me, this photo just looks like a painting.
Yeah,
don't tell me otherwise.
It looks like it has a fantasy element to it.
So
it does look like a painting, but more like from a CG movie. You know what I mean?
The few landscapes and the few outdoor kind of photos I found of her, they really make me feel like they're paintings. I don't know, the way that she chose to render the shadows and the highlights and the midtones, they're just so good.
I'm trying to grab
okay.
the thing so I can read. Okay, so it's in Cleveland. It's a terminal tower, Cleveland Terminal Tower. I don't know what that is. 1928.
So actually, Sham is mentioning something very interesting here. She's saying when you live in these circumstances, you look at the things in different way. I think she's mentioning about like being brave and going out when the bombs are. Because she's saying, when I was a child during the war in my country, we usually went up to the roof to watch the airplanes drop the bombs everywhere.
That's crazy.
Right?
She's saying we were lucky to escape the bombs.
Yeah. So heavy things, but important as well in the case of, Margaret being there and saying, no, this is happening. I ought to go out and just shoot these photos. One kind of interesting tidbit that you guys are gonna love. This is the other one of the nature that also looks like a painting to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I love this photo.
I
just
love
like
it
it
too.
so much.
So beautiful.
Okay, interesting
Tidbit.
tidbit.
Yes, give it.
When she went to the Soviet Union,
Mm-hmm.
she took 5 cameras, 22 lenses, 4 developing tanks, and 3,000 flash bulbs. The
Okay.
whole luggage weighed 600 pounds.
That's 300 kilos.
Yeah,
More or
worth
less.
of gear.
Crazy.
What?
That's crazy.
That's crazy, but she knew what she needed. I
Yeah.
gotta guess.
But I mean, she stayed there for a long time, right?
Yeah, I don't have data exactly how long she stayed, but yeah, she was gonna go across the country extensively and shoot a lot of things. And these flash bulbs, I guess, the old flashes, once you use it, it's gone. You have to throw it away.
So she got 3,000 flash photos, ready.
I guess, yeah, exactly. That's interesting tidbit, and I just said like, okay, but in another trip that she did, she crossed through the Atlantic to North Africa,
Mm-hmm.
and when there was only about a day to get to the African port, her boat got torpedoed, and everyone in the boat had to go to the life-saving boat, and she lost all her equipment except one Rolleiflex that she had in her neck.
Oh, yeah.
So the rest of her trip, she only photographed with the camera, and then she said she learned that next time I need to pack less stuff.
That's crazy.
Right?
That is insane. What, 300 kilos worth of gear?
Yeah.
Wow.
And there were only 4 developing tanks, huh? So
I'm guessing because she had to develop different kinds of film.
yeah.
So I'm guessing she had a 35, a medium format. Maybe she
4
could
by
use
5.
one tank for these two. But I don't know. Like nowadays, these
Yes,
tanks
it's
are
different.
compact and
Mhm.
small, and you can do 4x5 in the same tank. But I don't think they were very common back in the day. I think the most compact one, maybe it was like a box, and you put it. I've seen some tanks where it's kind of like a Patterson tank, but it's a box instead of a cylinder,
Uh-huh.
and you put the sheets down on tracks,
Okay.
on rails on the side,
Yeah.
and then you cover it and you put the chemicals in.
It's a little bit like the Flask developer that you showed me, right? For the 4x5. But bigger to
Yes,
put
but
the-
it's like a cube,
Yeah.
a
Okay.
big heavy cube.
Yeah. So I also like this one a lot. What happened?
Tim is saying 300 kilograms. That's like 4 RBs and a roll of film. Yeah, you think? I mean, the RB is not so heavy. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Right? It's not that bad.
It's not. The other day we stumbled on this channel on YouTube. Somebody was doing an RZ review, and they were like, "It's the compact version,
More portable version.
more portable version of the RB." I mean, maybe it's a little bit lighter. And then they were like, "The RB is so huge and heavy," and I was like, "What? Have you seen the Fuji 680?
Yeah. I
That
mean,
weighs like both of them
I
combined."
I think I don't really. Do you think the RC is lighter than the RB?
The RZ might be lighter than
I mean, but with
it
the
depends
viewfinder,
which lens you have on it.
yeah,
Yeah, but no, with the viewfinder it's
Yeah.
bigger. But if you put the viewfinder on the RB,
yeah, that's
now you have a cannonball. Especially the metal one. It's crazy.
What is Chronic Fish saying? I wonder what she would choose today for her gear. A Nomatic or a Pick Design?
Peter McKinnon backpack. Anyways, what is this? You were gonna say something about this
No,
photo.
I just want to say that I really like it
Me too.
because it's so it's from factory life, I guess, industry and
Today I haven't looked at the photos before the show, so I'm looking at them for the first time with you guys.
this one also I really love it.
I really like it too. Again, I love this, what she's doing with this,
Right?
all of this industrial stuff. It's so tasteful and it's so beautifully like framed and everything. And it's just like many of these I would hang them on the wall.
They're
Crazy because I don't care about like industrial ads,
Uh-huh.
like I might maybe put like a poster for a Gibson guitar or a favorite board or whatever, favorite camera, something that I'm passionate about.
yeah, but
Maybe I would put a poster of it on my wall. Maybe.
yeah,
But these, I don't care about these like
what
industrial
they are, yeah.
factories, but the photos are so beautiful.
These are blades, right? I believe.
Blades?
I think
I don't
so.
know. And they are plow blades.
Yeah.
I like blades. What is it called? What is it called? The thing that the Grim Reaper has.
The Grim Reaper?
Yeah, it's not a sickle.
Yeah.
It's
It's not a sickle?
No,
I
no,
would
no.
call it a sickle. We call it
The sickle
oath.
is the small one.
We call it oath.
Yeah, no, it's a scythe. Does
Scythe.
anybody know what I'm
Scythe.
talking about? It's the
I know
big
what it
thing
is.
that you cut the crops with. It's like a long stick with a long blade, and it has a handle.
The death one.
Yeah. Yeah, scythe. That's
Scythe?
it. Yeah. I think that's how you say it. I love that thing. It's just, when I can't fall asleep, I just go on YouTube and Google people using it, like to cut the crops, and I fall asleep. That's one of the ways that I fall asleep.
I think your YouTube is so confused.
My YouTube doesn't even know what's happening. All right, let's see the next photo.
Scythe.
Scythe. I
Scythe.
think that's how you say it.
This one I really like because I love subframing.
Yeah. And this is so cool. What are those? Trains? Trams?
I think they are trams. Yeah.
Buses? What are those?
I think they're trams. Maybe.
Let's see. Where is this? Public Square. The Terminal Tower. At 5 o'clock.
Yep.
I'm
So
guessing
rush
5
hour.
p.m. As seen through a Williamson Building grill, Cleveland, Ohio. I like how much information these photos have.
Mm.
Usually we don't get so much backstory.
I mean, it's nice that she was so popular and so like documented. There's a lot of. She wrote 11 books throughout her life, like herself. Not only photo books, but like writing her stories and her adventures and where she went and the things she learned and all that. So there's a lot of good material there if you are interested to learn a bit more. This one is farm life, but so cool. This is the one I was saying.
The
That
one
is
with
just
the-
like you don't typically would photograph the Liberty statue like this,
No.
right? But yet it's so.
I might. I don't know.
You would. But I mean, a photographer, they're supposed to make an official documenting of the building,
Yeah.
because she was paid to go out and take photographs of these monuments and these buildings.
It's crazy to me how there is like so many photographers and not so many photos like that. I mean,
Right?
really leave the touristic photos for the tourists.
Try to see it differently.
Take more
yeah.
photos like that. Why am I so aggravated?
More
What is-
factory work.
Let's see. Study for RCA mural.
33 also kind of starting before the war and all her. Yeah, so this article I think might be the last one of the PDFs. This has
This
a
is
lot
the
of
photo
photos.
you were talking
Yeah,
about with the
this has a
gargoyle.
lot of photos, a lot of the kind of groundbreaking that was her on the 61st floor of the
I
Chrysler
think
building.
somebody was asking earlier. I'm betting this one is a Graphlix.
Yeah, I think so. That looks like it. Actually, it reminds me of your
Yeah.
Mentor, a
Mentor.
bit.
But I don't think the mentors have ones that have a bed that opens
Yeah.
like that. They might, but I don't think. This seems like a focusing bed that's folded.
Yeah, looks like it. But it's a really cool photo.
It is. I like, another thing I like about today is how many cool photos we have of the photographer
her.
we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because it's nice, like you get to know them more.
I guess the fact that she was a woman and she was doing something that no woman had done before, like for example, the one that you showed before of her by the plane,
Mm-hmm.
that ended up being a pin-up cover for a magazine.
Cool.
So girls wanted to be like her,
Yeah.
these small girls, like they would see this woman in this like pilot and there with the camera and so happy because she looks so happy in all the photos that we see there with her of photographing. It was an icon. It was a
Of course,
pin-up
I mean,
icon.
like, think about the time she was in the 20s. What? I mean, nowadays she's an awesome, like, now if she was alive now,
yeah, doing the same things. Yeah.
she would still be like a role model, someone to look up to, for anybody really, but especially for young women. But doing it back in the 20s, I mean, that's crazy. We've been watching some some shows that portray the past, and coincidentally in the past few weeks,
Yeah.
and it's like you see how it was, and you're reminded again how it was for women back then. but then it's such a it adds so much more significance to how, again, I don't know what other words to use than badass she was.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can see it in those pictures, the first ones when we first started with her, like with her camera. But again, like taking photos of the bombing, you know, all of the things that she did. And
yeah, she was very brave, I would say. Also, like, because don't think that all the work that she did doing the industrialization and going to the big factories and all that, it was also like people didn't want her there. They were saying like, this is very dangerous situation for a woman to be here. We don't want you to be photographing what's happening. She was near furnaces. She was in places where there was hazard of things falling on her. And at some point, her camera melted away when she was in those places taking photos because of how hot things were. So I think from the very beginning she was drawn to you know, like she was a very strong person that she didn't care about these hardships or having to suffer through something being so hot that it will melt if you get a bit closer. I just want to get that photo, right? Kind of thing. So everything that she did was really badass indeed.
For sure. I don't know, CM, if it's a Super D, but I'm guessing it's one of the Graflex ones. I know they have a bunch of different ones, and I can't tell the difference between them. But yeah, I'm guessing it's a... I mean, given that she's American as well. Isn't the Graflex American? I don't know.
I think so.
I know the Mentor is German or some European country.
Mentor, yeah. German.
So I'm assuming she was shooting a Graflex because... yeah, these are different formats. I'm still grinding away. Finally, I got a mag bag. It arrived, yesterday or 2 days ago?
You want me to get it?
If you want.
So you can show it? Because it's really cool.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Now that we're looking, because probably she had one of those. I mean, she must have had.
Yeah, I mean, for use, actually, maybe I can take a look here if I zoom in to see if there's not a lot of detail. But... yeah, I know some of you know already what I'm talking about, but some of you don't. So this is a 4x5. Let's take a break from looking at photos and let me tell you about this cool thing that I got. So this is a 4x5 film back, but you can see that it's quite chunky. And it's because this one will hold 12 sheets of 4x5 at a time. And so this is why it's called bag, because there's a bag here. And you unlatch this thing, and then you have this bag loose over it. In the front, you have a dark slide. There is no film in there, so I can open it. And now, here, you can see this is where your film would be. This should have not come up. Interesting. All right, so this is where your film should be, and it says 12. But if I shoot the photo, so I expose the photo in the camera, and then the lens is closed, and I want to move to the next picture.
It's really cool, guys.
Then what I gotta do is... wait, I'm trying to...
hope it works.
Yeah, so there's a latch here that I can pull up. So now that thing that was holding the film is up there. I bring this thing down, and now I'm holding it. And I push it all the way to the back, and I push it down. There's a window here, and it should say number 1. Yeah, you can see number 1. Look what happens now as I push. It should turn to 12.
Number 12. So you basically have a rechargeable magazine of 4x5 sheets. So you don't have to have only the holders that will only hold 2 sheets per holder.
Yeah. So you take another photo. Again, you just slide it up, put it back down.
Such a cool mechanism.
It's number 10. You take it and you push it behind. And now here it should say number 11. Yeah.
Yeah.
11. I don't know. I can only see reflection, but yeah, there's 11. So super cool. And then when you load it, you have to open it like this and then remove the back. This is like the pressure. And this is the number that you see through the red window on the back. And these are just basically sheet holders. So there's a notch here. And when you're loading sheet film, where was the sheet that was here?
I didn't move anything. I don't know.
There used to be a sheet here.
There is film all across the apartment.
Anyways, so usually the sheets, they have notches, and then you have to load it like this. And there are, I don't know if you can see them. I'm going to try to get the light just right. So you see there are like notches here, like that guides the film. And the thing has to go under. The film has to go under these.
Mm-hmm.
And then you load 12 of them. And then you just switch them out.
It's really nice.
Super cool.
But we cannot use this in the combo, right?
We cannot use it in the combo without modifying something.
Mm-hmm.
But and we can't use it with the, what's it called? What is it called, that one? The Mentor.
The Mentor? Yeah, you have to do some switcheroo.
Yeah. So I'm working on making this compatible with the Mentor, so I can have basically a point and shoot. Well, not a point and shoot, but like a walking around 4x5 camera.
Or you can get something that I just saw recently. It's a very nice apron that has a lot of pockets, and then you can put up to 3 film holders in the pockets. So you can do 3, 4, like 9 or 12 holders.
I mean, I can fit a bunch of holders, but they're expensive.
Yeah, that's the thing also. But it was kind of cool to see the man like with all the film holders there.
The cool thing about this is that the way that I plan to use it is that I just put it on the back of the camera and I don't take it in or out, because the Mentor has a mirror.
Yeah,
It's a
of
reflex
course.
camera.
Yeah.
So I just keep walking. I just switch the film to the
It's
next
just
one.
a film back.
Yeah, so you don't have to remove it, flip
No.
it, put it back, take a dark slide,
Yeah.
and keep track. Oh, did I shoot it? Did I not shoot it? These, they also come in a different variation. I think they're called Graphmatic.
Graphmatic.
The Graphmatic will only hold 6 photos,
Oh.
or don't quote me on that, but it will hold less photos than this one.
Uh-huh.
And that one has a mechanism that will tell you if you already shot it or not. So whenever you remove the dark slide,
Uh-huh.
something like there's a pointer that turns red,
Uh-huh.
and that means that you already removed the dark slide on this sheet.
So you have to
And
shoot.
when you put it back in, it will throw it. You have to turn the knob, remove the dark slide again, and put it back, and that way it will throw it behind.
the other one. Okay,
Yeah.
I understand.
And that one, then it will turn back white, meaning it's ready to shoot again.
Uh-huh.
And it has a film counter,
All right.
like like something that spins. This one you can just look
It's
at the
pretty
back.
manual, everything here. I really like the writings on the window.
It does
It's
look
really
like
nice.
you know what it looks like an epitaph,
Where's
Well,
that?
like what is it like a gravestone.
Like a raisin. Yeah, it actually looks like yes.
Chronic Fish is asking, but does it crank? I hope nothing cranks ever again in my life. I'm guessing you're referring to the first time we met on the channel. I think you joined when I streamed for 8 hours trying to build the Zinstocks. Yeah, I know it's funny,
It will
but
be a running joke forever.
sometimes the pain makes it too hard to laugh.
Yo.
Just kidding. Right, let's go back to Margaret.
Margaret, yes. So, yeah, these are part of the industrialization. She also was very good at photographing. I mean, portraits. There are some portraits that were really nice, and we will see some others. But like groups of people, she was very good at photographing groups of people. This photo I love.
This photo is so cool. Where is she?
Either in a skyscraper or in another plane.
All right, hold on a second. I'm uninformed in this. What is this plane? This looks like a commercial plane.
It says a DC-4E aircraft.
Yeah, well,
Douglas, I can check it. I can check it out.
but the buildings are so tall that the commercial plane will fly this low in comparison.
Yeah, I mean it looks like a very big plane. That's true.
It's crazy.
Let me see what type of plane is that. It's a 4-engine pistol. It's military.
Yeah. Now that I zoom in, it looks more like a.
But still, it's not small.
No, I mean it's hard to say. It's maybe short, but look at those wings.
It was an experimental airliner developed before World War II.
Oh.
Never entered production due to being superseded by an entirely new design, which proved more successful.
Now we're looking at this. I mean, I was so confused because I saw the pyramids and then the first word is Scottish. So it's Scottish, Cameroon, Highlander and Indian troops march past pyramids in Egypt in 1940, part of the Allied defense preparations against Italian attack during World War II.
Mhm.
So cool. Again, she's in all of the dangerous places.
Yeah, and she didn't really mind. This one is really very good. I really like this photo.
Interesting.
And that was near your place.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's near Damascus. Yay. Original caption: members of the native Bedouin camel cavalry called Meharists, commanded by the officers of the French I can't read, it's too small.
Expeditionary Force. The
How?
French Expeditionary Force.
You're looking at an even smaller one. How can you read?
I have glasses. No.
I mean, I do too. I guess I'm gonna need new ones. So cool. In the desert near Damascus.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe back in the day the city was much smaller, so the desert was closer.
Now there's no desert close to it.
I mean, relatively close. It's not such a far. I mean, if you drive like 4 hours, you're in the middle of the desert. You're in Palmyra, basically.
Palmyra.
Yeah. So cool.
These are the cheesy now girls.
This
The fastest
girl
girls.
reminds me of the girl from the Addams Family.
Wednesday.
I don't know her name.
I think she was called Wednesday.
Okay, so they're doing the thing.
Yeah, they are the
Fascist Romanian
in Rome.
youth.
Yeah, it's in Moldova, in Chisinau, and they were part of a fascist organization. Yeah, they were giving the salute. So
And
this
this
is
is a different angle
Yes.
from the. Let's read the caption. Overall view of the central Moscow with aircraft gunners dotting sky over Red Square with exploding shells, with spires of Kremlin silhouetted by German Luftwaffe.
Flare.
Mm-hmm. July 26, 1941.
Yeah.
Such a cool photo.
Yeah, this one and the other one, they're just
What is
amazing
this?
photos. This is things either I think there are things like
Flares?
bombing, no, like bombing in the sky.
I don't think there
No?
was like counter missiles.
No, but
it's-
I don't know.
it's-
it
I
could
think
be.
it's more like the fire.
Oh
like,
yeah, it could be.
I don't know what it's called.
Bye, Sherry. Have a good week, and see you next week. Thank you for being with us.
A Russian woman's brigade wields crude rakes to gather up a hay harvest on a collective farm outside the capital in 1941. Such a cool photo. I really love her photos of people.
Right, like the groups of people. She just I wonder how much there is of her positioning people, or just her moving around to get the right. I don't know. Like it's
I mean,
difficult
this one
to
looks
photograph
like
group
this one.
of
I'm
people.
guessing it looks like she was like
Maybe get
she
there
asked them
or-
to look at her.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe they were standing there during a break or
Yeah.
something, but they're obviously posing for the photo.
Yeah.
These two.
This is it's a funny but not so funny
Oh, yeah.
caption. You can read it.
Maybe not. Let's keep.
No, it's just that the kids, they're kids, they're playing, so they have songs, and in the songs they're playing, they're talking about how the bombs come, and then when the bombs come, they go.
They
and
have to
put
close their
plug
ear.
ears. Yeah, but I mean for kids, it's game for them, so it's not sad. We don't know what happened to them, but they're just playing there. They're having a good time. So
I don't know what CM is referring to.
flag,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Female welders at work
Yeah.
in a steel mill, Indiana. I mean, yeah, this is what Chris was referring to earlier. That during the war, a lot of women. I think also you
Yeah, I
talked
was
about
saying
it.
That she went to represent, like to capture that a lot of the men that had to leave, then the positions were taken over by their wives because, I mean, they needed kind of a hand.
Maybe it didn't register the first time you said it because I couldn't recognize that it was a woman in that first
Okay.
photo. These look like pilots.
Yeah, like high altitude pilots. So
Okay.
that's why they have the oxygen mask and they have this fleece. So this is like how you would be dressed when you are gonna go very very high up on the flying. This reminds me so much of the TV show we just watched.
For All Mankind.
Yeah.
So cool. If you haven't watched it, watch that show.
Yeah.
For All Mankind. It's really cool. Yeah, so a lot of aerial stuff. This one is the one of her. What is this? Some kind of bombing as well?
I didn't read this one actually. So
American gun crew flies their 155mm caliber field gun, known as a Long Tom, towards German positions several miles away during the campaign to retake Italy in 1944. That's the photo on the left. The photo on the right, nighttime artillery barrage by Allied forces supporting the U.S. patrol attacks German fortification positions in the Apennine Mountains in, I don't know if that's how you say it, in on the Italian front. So this is during World War in Italy.
This one is really interesting too.
An aerial view of a bomb-damaged residential area after an Allied air attack on Essen, Germany.
Yep.
So cool. I mean, so sad, but the photo is so
The
cool.
photo is so cool, and it's so, I mean, it must have been a 4x5 for sure. Like the amount of detail. And
I don't know what aerial cameras use, but I mean, this is such a, again, something about these photos. I'm guessing it's a bigger format. Something is so fantastic, like fantasy about it. Like it looks like something from a Lord of the Rings or something like that.
It's another world, basically.
It's very, very cool. Like, let alone the composition and being there in these crazy places to take photos. The final product, the tonality of these images are gorgeous.
That's another thing that I learned about her, is that she was very, very picky about the printing work, and then result of the photos, like she would constantly send photos back and say, no, this is not what I want, something else. Like she didn't do the printing herself, but she got it. So she actually set kind of the standards of what is a good printed photojournalist photograph from overseas and this kind of situation. So she was very particular about what she wanted. So I guess that's what you're seeing also in the photos that we're checking.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of funny.
It is cool. An American soldier shots with a sunbathing German girl in post-war Berlin. Chronic helped me understand what CM was referring to. Flak refers to the anti-aircraft fire coming at one from an anti-aircraft guns.
Oh.
So there used to be I don't know so much about war and weapons. I like rockets, but I don't like guns. Like space rockets.
Yes.
This is, I'm guessing, it's in Delhi.
Yep.
People praying during marking the end of Eid al-Fitr. Or also known as Eid.
Eid, which is the first day after Ramadan, right?
Mm-hmm. Fitr is to eat breakfast, so it's because now you can eat. So it's the first meal of the rest of the year.
Yeah, and Eid is happy?
Eid is holiday.
Holiday, okay.
Yeah, so it's sometimes I find it weird that people say, well, it's not.
Eid
so
Mubarak.
it's just Eid because it's just a holiday.
Yeah.
I like that here they wrote the name of the holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is, I don't know why that line is there.
I'm guessing.
Rendering of the PDF.
Yeah.
But this is also one of the most iconic photographs that she ever took. She photographed Gandhi in several locations. And here is where my investigations kind of gave me different things. So some part I found, and they were saying that this is a photo that she took just few hours in 48 before he was assassinated.
Mm-hmm.
But then I found some other reporting that that's not true. This photo is actually from 46, and you can see it there. Mm-hmm. So that's 2 years before he was assassinated. So some accountings of the history are obviously wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently it is true that she was in India before he died, that when he died.
Mm-hmm.
But apart from that, this one was in 46. And I read a story about this photo. So she was accepted to go in and take photos of him. But there were two conditions, which was not to talk to him because it was the silence. It was his day of silence. He has 1 day a week of silence. Mm-hmm. And that day he meditates and does a lot of spinning wheel. So apparently spinning the wheel is a part of practice meditation for the religion that he was practicing. A lot of his followers would do the same thing. And actually some accounting says that she had to also learn to do wheel spinning because he wanted for her. And they were talking about like, both things, photographing and wheel spinning, they are both like skills and technical things. And then he would say something, yeah, but the lesser of them is photography. Like the best one of the two is the spinning the wheel.
That's so cool that she had such an interaction with Gandhi.
But that was on another occasion. This one, it was his day of silence. She couldn't talk to him. And also, she wasn't allowed, or they told her not to use artificial light. But she peeked into the hut and where this man was like sitting, and she was like, there's no way I can take a photo there with artificial light. So she was allowed to bring in 5 flash bulbs.
Mm-hmm.
And she went in, he was walking around, he was doing his thing, kind of like not really interacting. And she said that she was very happy that they couldn't talk, because then the conversation would have kind of overtaken everything, and she wanted to really focus on the photography. So the fact that she couldn't talk to him was really good.
Yeah, I mean, imagine meeting Gandhi. You're not going to be wanting to take photos. You're going to like listen to what he has to say to you, right?
So she saw him spinning. It was very beautiful, very nice composition. And then she used 3 flash bulbs. And then she realized, she said that it was immediately obvious by the time between my shutter and the flash bulbs that the system was not working. So apparently it was very hot and very humid in India, and either the cables or the connections, whatever, it didn't really work. So those were ruined, those three flash bulbs. You had 2 more.
Speaking of which, I think we're dying.
Are we dying?
Yeah.
In what way?
This is very choppy over here.
No.
Do we still have a stream?
We do. Yeah.
It's super choppy. Yeah. What's going on? I don't know what's going on.
We still have the stream, but yeah, this is very okay. Now no, it's still going on.
Yeah.
What's happening?
I don't know. Fuji Velvia 100 has just been discontinued. What?
In the US, Tim is always telling us all the film dying.
I told you, Tim. Remember last week we were talking?
That's true.
He told me Provia is gonna get cancelled. I told him.
Velvia comes first.
Yep.
Sounds good. Choppy video. All right.
All right. So we can keep talking.
Hopefully it doesn't drop. Anyway. All right. So yeah. So she had 2 flash bulbs left.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said she carefully moved the equipment around and tried to, and then the 4th one didn't work either. And then she was about to give up, but in the last moment he had already finished working on the wheel. Actually, in this photo you can see that he's sitting and reading, so not really doing the spinning of the wheel. But then she decided to take the photo just because she was there and she had a flash bulb. And then she heard that they were synced and it worked. So she said she hacked the equipment. She was so happy that it actually happened, and then she just left the place and she got this photo. So that's what I read about the story behind this photo.
Right. Sorry, I let's see. Sorry, guys.
Are we back?
I think we're back, but we're still choppy. Hold on a second.
Can you... Chronic says sound is very choppy for me, and now I've lost you completely. Dustin, they put a crying face.
We're back on, I think.
We are? Yes. Yes, we are. We are back.
But it's still choppy.
Is it choppy?
Yeah. I don't know what happened.
Chronic Fish is like, I think YouTube went into shock when you announced the discontinuation of Velvia. What if we put the